Your Excellency, I'm sure Nigerians are happy to hear that you have a different perspective about the military, because for a while there's been this back and forth between your government and the military. You had alleged that they lacked the coordination and political will to bring down these terrible individuals. And in response, they say you're being unjustly critical of them. So I'm happy with this relationship. It only speaks to how better synergy, collaborative efforts between federal and local authorities can do magic, especially in securing the lives and properties of citizens. But let's talk about your own personal efforts, because some stakeholders from Zamfara State have blamed your administration and your predecessor of patronage and politicization of the situation. Your government came up with the formation of the state's community protection guards, and recently you just handed over operational patrol vehicles to the police to enhance your response to distressed calls. How far has this initiative gone in finding community-driven ways to address these security challenges?
Oh, very good. Initially, when there was not that kind of synergy between the state and the federal government, I came out and complained, and I made it very, very public to everybody. But right after that, things have changed. There's a new dimension to the whole situation right now, whereby the synergy between the state and the federal government is working very, very well. And I believe this is part of the success story why we're able now to get to a certain level in terms of fighting this insecurity. Now, of course, I had to complain as a governor when there was a kind of, issues between the state and the federal government, where certain negotiations were taking place without my consent. And I felt it shouldn't be the case. And I complained. And after that complaint, now we all came together as one. And like I said, it's yielding result. Very, very effective result for that matter. And let me say this. Yes, there were a lot of issues in the past with my predecessor. In fact, let me say this very categorical. If I were him, I would resign and face all the allegations against me. And that would have been more honorable, because from all the information we're getting, my predecessor was fully involved in some of these banditry issues. Typical is the fact that there was a permanent secretary when his children were abducted. And it was unfortunate that he had to pay ransom through the government house. And it was also very clear, based on all the allegations, that bandits were being kept at government house. There are so many issues. So for me, honestly, if I were him, I'll step aside and face this allegation until I clear my name before I come back and continue my job. That should have been more honorable. And how can you imagine all these allegations against him? And he's still the Minister of Defense. I mean, that is unfair. This man could have been honorable, stay aside, face all these allegations, clear his name, and then come back and continue to do whatever he wants to do. Whether he wants to remain as minister or he wants to do something else, that would have been more honorable as far as I'm concerned. If I'm in that position, believe me, I'll put in my resignation letter.
Well, Your Excellency, he has not been nailed by the EFCC, so why do you think he should have been probed before taking up the appointment?
In May last year, 2023, there was this allegation of misappropriating over 70 billion naira. And when we took over, we realized that that 70 billion was a child's play compared to what we have. And all this information are before the EFCC. And I wonder how this guy was cleared by the security operatives before he's confirmed as a minister. And the same thing I will say, if I were him, I will still face EFCC to say that, look, let me clear my name. This is a father of 41 children. For goodness sake, what kind of legacy is he going to leave for his children when you're being accused of misappropriating this amount of money? So he should have come out clean, face EFCC, clear his name, and then come back and continue to do whatever he wants to do. Honestly, that would have been more honorable. But look at it. We're still waiting to hear from EFCC. The case has been ongoing for over a year now. And this is people's money. We need this money in Zamfara with all the challenges we're facing, with financial constraints. At least let's have some of this money back into Zamfara so that we can work for the people of Zamfara State.
You know, a lot of Nigerians are monitoring that. A lot of Nigerians are monitoring that case, and we'll see what the EFCC will come up with in the coming days. But let's stay on that.
I hope something will be done as quickly as possible because it's taking too long. For how long will this continue? It's over 1 year.
Your Excellency, you know, I would like you to react to some allegations that have been raised against you on this particular program, because about 4 months ago, former Commissioner for Information, Ibrahim Dosara, was here on Politics Tonight. He said to me that you're an absent governor, and that is one of the major reasons banditry in Zamfara State will continue to escalate, because you're not always in the country to take charge. He also alleged that you're fighting banditry as a one-man show, because former governor of the state, who is now Minister of State for Defense, Bello Matawalle, had offered to help you in all forms, but you have rejected his offer. So how do you react to this? Is there an element of truth in what he said?
Alhaji Mokie, let me make also a very categorical statement here. In Nigeria today, if there's any governor that stays in his state, Dauda Lawal is one of those governors. I spend all the time in Gusau City. Your correspondent can confirm that. I only come to Abuja when there's a need for me to come here. That is number one. Number two, this is a state that is facing too many challenges, ranging from infrastructure, healthcare service, education. Where would I get all this money to be able to take care of the people and bring out development for the people? Most times, I have to travel. Now, with the state of insecurity in the state, it is extremely difficult for anybody to drive 7 hours from Abuja to go to Gusau and attend to me. I am the one that is looking for help, and I need to be out there. Dosara is one of those guys that I don't even really have time to discuss him because he's not at my level. I'd rather speak with his principal, Matawalle, and I challenge Matawalle. I'm ready to come any day, any time to have one-on-one conversation on the issues facing Zamfara State. That would have been much better. But I can't bring myself solo and be discussing about somebody like Dosara, who was the Commissioner of Information under Matawalle. They wanted me to really stay home, not be able to do, after squandering all the resources of the state. Look, Alhaji Mokie, by the time we did all our analysis, we realized more than 250 billion is missing in Zamfara State. And these guys have the audacity to go to court to say that they cannot be charged. If there's anything, if you know your claim, why would you go to your court and say that you cannot be investigated? I mean, it's crazy. It's only in Nigeria that such things happen. And they were able to get even injunction to say that their administration should not be problem. How can you do that? I mean, if you don't have anything to fear, please come and face it. Come and answer the questions. So forget about those.
Your Excellency,
I'd rather have his principal to come here. Yes.
Since you became governor, has Bello Matawalle offered to assist you in this fight against banditry in whatever form?
Somebody who has been accused of involved in banditry activity, what kind of help is he going to bring to Zamfara State? What value is he going to add to Zamfara State? I'm dealing with the Minister of Defense, that is Badaro. I'm dealing with the National Security Advisor, as well as the President. So who's Matawalle in that regards?
All right. Governor Lawal, let's take a break, and when we come back, we will continue this conversation. Please stay with us, everyone. Welcome back to Politics Tonight, everyone. Executive Governor of Zamfara State, Dr. Dauda Lawal, is on the program with me tonight as we focus on the state of insecurity in Zamfara State the potential, and the future of the Northwest states. Your Excellency, thanks a lot for staying with us on the program. Now, let's move on with this conversation. And I would like you to help us make sense of this narrative out there. The narrative out there is one of the reasons it's looked like Governor Dauda Lawal and his predecessor, Bello Matawalle, cannot agree, or the relationship is not rosy, is because Governor Lawal is being forced to negotiate with bandits. But you're insisting that these guys must be crushed. Also, I've heard you complain that negotiations with bandits are going on behind you, but you have refused to tell Nigerians who is doing this. So when a document surfaced online indicating that your government had been relating with these bandits through the back door, Nigerians were surprised and confused. So tell us tonight, what exactly happened? Were you overwhelmed?
Alajimoke, my stand from day one has been no negotiation with any bandit, and I still stand on that. I have never mixed words in terms of my position as far as banditry in Zamfara State is concerned. Now, looking at that memo, I'll be so stupid at my level to sit down and write such kind of memo. I think I'm way more than that. If you look at the memo, and I keep saying, look at the content of the memo. It says Northwest Governors Security Summit. That was the heading. The background says payment to bandits. And they listed all the bandits in Zamfara State. Then the second part of it was for journalists. And all these journalists are the ones that are having some kind of shady relationship with Matawalle, and they are all listed. If you go to the date the memo was approved, it was 2nd of September 2024, and that was my birthday. And I remember clearly, on that day, I was at council meeting, I did not sign a single memo. Secondly, when you look at even the name of the SSG, it was spelled wrongly, and that wasn't the way the SSG signed his memo. If you look at the address under the heading, Honorable Commissioner of Finance, I have never written any memo in that regard. And I challenge anybody to go to Ministry of Finance and look at all the memos that I have approved. If there was one that I've addressed my commissioner as HC Finance, I will pay 20 million naira to whoever can bring any memo that I address my honorable commissioner that way. And why is it that all the people that were listed on that memo are people that are saying the truth about Matawalle? You know, they're not even smart. But the good thing is, with role of technology, we're able to establish where that memo came from. And we've already initiated a legal action against that person. And very soon, we will make it public.
Governor Lawal, where did that memo come from?
Well, you know, like I said, we initiated a legal, against the person, because technology is so easy. It makes life so easy. You can verify every information. And we're able to do that. And we've taken legal action against that person. I don't want to preempt anything, and I don't want to mention names. But what I'm confirming to you is we are on it. And we must bring those people to book. This will serve as a deterrent against future occurrence of such memos. So for me, my stand has always been very clear: no negotiation with bandits. When I complained, it was true, because in everything we do, we have evidence. We don't just come out and say things. We have documentary evidence when people were negotiating behind our doors. And we made it very, very public. And since that time, it has stopped. And there's more peace in Zamfara State now. How can you imagine, as a governor, the chief security officer of the state, you're negotiating with bandits? What are you telling them when I'm not aware? It doesn't make sense. Look, we need to be straightforward in everything we do. You know, we don't take some of these things. You know, you're dealing with human lives, for goodness sake. How would you feel as a governor? Every day people are being killed, innocent people, for nothing. I mean, it's unfair. And you still want to negotiate with these people. Give them money. Yes.
Do you agree that the people should take up arms and defend themselves?
No. If we do that, that means a total failure of the system. And I don't think it will be fair to our security forces. What I believe is the security forces have the ability to crush any bandit. That is their constitutional role. So I don't believe in everybody taking arms because it will turn to anarchy. I believe we have the capacity to deal with these guys. And the political will. Once the political will is there, it's just a matter of time. You have seen what happened within the last 1 week. The kind of successes they are recording. That is the political will. And that's what we're talking about. Let it be sustained. If we're able to sustain this, believe me, within the next 1 month, banditry will be history in northern Nigeria, in Zamfara, and Nigeria as a whole.